Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we have a beautiful story that has been told for generations, a tale that reminds us of a virtue that never goes out of style. It's the story of the honest woodcutter. In a quiet little village, nestled between rolling hills and a winding river, there lived a humble and hard-working woodcutter named Thomas. Thomas wasn't rich. In fact, he and his family had very little, but what they lacked in money, they made up for in love and integrity. Every morning, Thomas would take his trusty iron axe and head into the forest to chop wood. This was how he earned his living, how he put food on the table for his beloved family. One sunny afternoon, Thomas was working near the riverbank. The sun dappled through the leaves of the tall trees, and the sound of the flowing water was a peaceful companion to the rhythmic thud of his axe against wood. He was chopping a large log that lay close to the water's edge. He swung his axe with all his might, but on one powerful swing, his hands, slick with sweat, lost their grip. The axe flew through the air in a gleaming arc and landed with a loud splash in the deepest part of the river. It sank instantly, disappearing into the murky depths. Thomas's heart sank with it. He rushed to the edge of the river, peering into the dark water, but he couldn't see anything. The river was too deep, the current too strong. He tried reaching in with a long branch, hoping to feel for it, but it was no use. The axe was gone. Despair washed over him. He sat down on the grassy bank, his head in his hands. Without his axe, how could he chop wood? How could he earn money? How would he feed his family? Tears welled up in his eyes as the weight of his predicament crushed him. As Thomas sat there, lost in his sorrow, the water in front of him began to stir. It bubbled and swirled, and a gentle light started to glow from beneath the surface. Slowly, a wondrous figure emerged from the river. It was a beautiful spirit, with hair that flowed like a waterfall and eyes that sparkled like sunlight on water. She floated gracefully above the river, her presence calm and magical. Thomas stared in awe, unsure if he was dreaming. It gleamed so brightly in the sunlight that Thomas had to squint. The spirit's voice was as soft and clear as the river itself. She looked at Thomas with a kind expression and asked, "Good man, I saw you lose your axe. Is this beautiful golden axe the one you dropped into the water?" Thomas looked at the breathtaking golden axe. For a moment, he thought about what he could do with it. Selling it would make him a rich man. He could buy a new house, fine clothes, and all the food his family could ever want. All his worries would disappear in an instant. It was a tempting thought, a powerful temptation for a man who had so little. But Thomas was, above all, an honest man. He looked at the spirit, and without a moment's hesitation, he shook his head. "No, gentle spirit," he said, his voice firm despite his sadness. "That is a truly magnificent axe, but it is not mine. My axe was just a plain, ordinary one, made of simple iron." The spirit smiled, a knowing and gentle smile. She didn't say a word, but simply dipped back beneath the surface of the water, disappearing as quietly as she had appeared. A few moments later, she rose again. This time, she held another axe. This one was crafted from brilliant, shining silver. It reflected the sky and the trees like a perfect mirror. It was less dazzling than the golden axe, but still incredibly valuable. "Then perhaps this silver axe is yours?" she asked, her voice just as gentle as before. Again, Thomas was faced with a choice. A silver axe was still worth a fortune. It would solve all his problems and provide for his family for a very long time. It would be so easy to say yes, no one would ever know. But Thomas's conscience was clear. His integrity was worth more to him than any amount of silver. He looked at the beautiful silver axe and then back at the spirit. "No," he replied respectfully. "That is not my axe either. Thank you for your kindness, but my axe was nothing so grand. It was just a common iron axe." She was deeply impressed by the woodcutter's unwavering honesty. It was rare to find someone so truthful, especially when faced with such great temptation. For a third time, she dove into the river. When she emerged, she held up a third axe. It was old and weathered. The handle was worn smooth from years of use, and the iron head was nicked and slightly rusted. It wasn't shiny or valuable to anyone else, but to Thomas, it was everything. His face lit up with pure joy and relief. "That's it, that's my axe," he exclaimed, pointing with excitement. Thank you so much, you found it." He was so happy to see his old, familiar tool that he nearly jumped for joy. He had his livelihood back. The spirit floated closer to the bank and held out all 3 axes to him. "Thomas," she said, her voice filled with warmth and admiration, "because you have been so honest, because you have spoken the truth when a lie could have made you rich, I want you to have all 3. She handed him the golden axe, the silver axe, and his own iron axe. "Your honesty is a rare and precious treasure. It deserves a great reward." Thomas was stunned. He couldn't believe his eyes. He took the 3 axes, his hands trembling. He had come to the river with nothing but sorrow and left with a fortune, not because he was clever or strong, but because he was honest. He thanked the spirit profusely, his heart overflowing with gratitude. The spirit gave him one last, benevolent smile before vanishing back into the water, leaving only gentle ripples behind. Thomas returned to his village, not just as a woodcutter, but as a wealthy man. The golden and silver axes provided more than enough for his family to live comfortably for the rest of their lives. But more importantly, the story of his encounter with the river spirit spread throughout the land. He became known not for his newfound wealth, but for his incredible honesty. This timeless story teaches us a powerful lesson. Honesty is always the best policy. It might seem like lying or being deceitful can give you a shortcut to what you want, but true, lasting rewards come from being truthful. Honesty builds character, earns respect, and, as Thomas discovered, can bring unexpected blessings. It is a virtue that enriches not just our lives, but the lives of everyone around us. Thank you so much for joining us for this story. We hope it inspired you as much as it inspires us.